Welcome all of you for this Bhakti Shastri class. So we are discussing from 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and we had seen some of the differences between sannyas and tyag. Arjuna is asking Krishna, answering the difference between sannyas and tyag. And so he first gives the generic, uh, the literal difference between sannyas and tyag. Sannyas basically refers to the jnanis who are renounced, who are away from family life. And literal definition of sannyas Krishna first gives. Kamyanam karmananyasham, rahur sannyasam. He says that kamyanam karmananyasham. One who does not engage in any sort of kamya karma. That kamya karma includes yajna, dana, tapaha. And then, actually, as such, any activity, that activity has to be performed as yajna only. That's what is spoken in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, including even eating. Krishna says, Yajna sishtasana santo muchyante sarvakilvise munjante te tu agham papa ye pachante atmakarana. So even eating, one has to eat after doing the yajna. So eating can be also included as a kamya karma actually in one sense. So in that sense, Krishna says, Kamyanam karmanyasham sannyasam praha. Sannyasam iti vidhyate. Says that, giving up all sort of work tainted with desire is called sannyas. And he refers to here, sannyas means the jnanis who are renounced, who are perfected the Varle Gyan Yoga section. If you remember that section which I had shown. So that is, he talks about that. And who definitely have nothing to do with family life, nothing to do with any worldly relationship. And Tyagi, he refers to those who could be living inside society, but they offer the fruits of their work to the Supreme. Very similar to what he has already spoken in the third chapter, fourth chapter, fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's very similar to that. In fact, more or less things get repeated. So, yeah. So after citing that difference, he tells about his opinion. Both more or less, both are same only, Sannyasi and Tyagi. And then he starts building up the Bhagavad Gita remaining verses depending upon Arjuna's that last question. That what is sannyas and what is tyag. So he will be explaining all these things. And so this particular chapter, the beauty of 18th chapter is that it is a mixture of Jnana Yoga and Niskam Karma Yoga. So Niskam Karma Yoga actually, that leads to Jnana Yoga. The difference between Niskam Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga is Niskam Karma Yoga leads to Jnana Yoga. And then Jnana Yoga, one can get impersonal liberation. Or if one, does Ashtanga Yoga meditation, then he can go to Paramatma. He can achieve Paramatma realization. So Paramatma realization, again, there is one might go back to impersonal aspect, or one may become a devotee in Santaras. That kind of thing is for the yogis. Yogis maximum can go up to Shantaras. So that's what it is. Coming to our discussion here in 11th chapter, the conclusion of perfection, that, yeah. So I think this sloka we had recited already. Nahi deha vrita shakyam tektum karmani asheshataha yastu karma phala tyagi sa tyagi iti avidhyate. One will not be able to give up the karma. Asheshata means completely. One cannot give up completely the work. It is not possible. Another place also Krishna has already mentioned. Nai kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati karma krit. One cannot even remain a moment without doing activity. So one may be sitting ideally, but one may be active mentally. That's why he will say that action is performed through not only through body, through mind, and through speech. These three. So action is always performed through three ways: body, mind, and speech. Again, he will tell that in somewhere in the upcoming verses. He will tell that how action is performed through body, mind, and speech. It's not that only one who is physically active is considered to be an karmi. No, a person who is mentally active, he is also considered to be active, and he is also a worker. Similarly, one is working through speech, that is also active. You can please read this translation.
It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action
Hare
is called
Krishna.
one.
I'm not able to hear any sound.
Hare Krishna, is it audible, Guruji?
Just 1 minute.
It's audible for us.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, is it audible now, Guruji?
It's clear. It's clear. Yeah.
Okay. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced.
Yeah. Yeah. Krishna talks about that one who gives of the fruits of the action, he is truly renounced. And the whole Bhagavad Gita, this is his resounding message throughout. So that's why we Vaishnavas are not so much after this sannyas, this sannyas which is that's why you found Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, most of the associates they are actually grihasthas. Because the Krishna has already clearly mentioned that it is the fruits of the action that has to be renounced, not the action itself. But that's not the case with the Gyanis. The Gyanis they stress a lot on taking sannyas, which will be this might have been already discussed, and Krishna also talks about that. That's what is the mandate need for the Gyanis. Okay, you can please read this purport.
It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruitive results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually renouncer. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give it to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruit should be renounced.
Yeah. So the person who does not renounce the fruits of his action, then what happens to him? If he is attached to the fruit, if he is not a tyagi, if he is not a tyagi, what happens to him? This is what is explained in this verse. Anishtam ishtam misram cha
Anishtamishtam mishram cha
vividham karmana phalam
trividam karmanha phalam
bhavati atyaginam pretya
bhavatyatyaginam pretya
tu sannyasinam kvachit.
न तु सन्न्यासिनं क्वचित्.
Says a person who is not a sannyasi or not a tyagi, then he has to suffer the fruits of his action or enjoy the fruits of his action. And what are they? There are three types in nature: Anishtam, Ishtam, and Misram. The fruits of the action are three types. Anishtam means it could be giving you suffering, it could be giving you heavenly delight, or it can be a mixture of both, that is in the earthly planet. So Anishtam means, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says it is hell, Ishtam means it is heaven, and Misram means it is earthly planet. Or while living in this planet, this can be hellish suffering, painful, misery producing, that is Anishtam, and which is giving enjoyment, that is Ishtam, and Misram is a mixture of both. So all these three reactions of the action is entitled to the person who is attached to the fruits of the action, who is not an Iskam Karma Yogi. He has to get all these three. That's what Krishna is telling. If he is not detached from the fruits of the action, he has to. Yeah, you can read this last.
Himanshu Prabhu.
Yes, sir. Audio. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible. Please tell. Read.
For one, for one who is not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, secured after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or endure.
And this is for sannyasis and tyagis both. Definitely. Okay. So now Krishna is telling the fruits of the action are three types, and then he's telling the cause of the action, actually, perfection of action. Look, generally you might have read in third chapter there are three types of doer. So this is little similar type of concept, but here Krishna is taking the elements of action actually. The five factors that makes an action to be perfection, there are five things are needed. But a person who is attached to the fruits, he will not be able to see this. He will see that I am the person because of which things are happening, and that's why he suffers. But if he understands that these are the five factors because of which the work is getting success, because the work is having reaching perfection. There are five factors that these are needed. When you do any work, these five factors has to be fall in line. If all these five are perfect, then only your action will be perfect. You will get the fruit. Otherwise, you will not get desirable fruit. But a person who is entitled to the fruits of the action, who is attached to the fruit of action, he will not be able to see this. He will see that I am the doer, like that. So what are the five factors? Krishna is explaining here. Very important verse. You all can remember this. Panchetani Mahabaho
Panchaitani Mahabaho
Karanani Nibodhame
Karanani Nibodh me
Sankhye Kritante Proktani
Sankhye Kritante Proktani
Siddhaye Sarvakarmanam.
Siddhaye Sarvakarmanam.
Just remember this last line. If you remember this last line, then you will understand this. The next sloka explains about the five factors, but this sloka, if you just remember this last line, you will understand what Krishna is trying to say here. Siddhaye sarva karmana, for perfection. Siddhi means सिद्धि प्राप्त हो गया क्या आप सिद्ध हो गए ऐसा कहने का मतलब have you achieved your target. That's the meaning of saying in Sanskrit. सिद्ध हो गए ये सिद्ध पुरुष हैं इसका मतलब he has achieved पहुंचे हुए हैं जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं तो सिद्ध पुरुष सिद्ध जैसे कि बंगाल में अगर राइस बॉईल आप कर रहे हैं तो राइस जब परफेक्टली बॉईल हो जाता है तो बोलते हैं चावल सिद्ध हो गया निकाल दीजिए ऐसा बोलते हैं तो बॉईल हो गया इसका मतलब परफेक्शन में आ गया तो सिद्ध ही सर्वकर्म नाम आपका कर्म कब सिद्ध होगा जब ये पांच चीज एक साथ आएंगे ये पांच चीज जब पांच फैक्टर जब मिल जाएंगे पांच फैक्टर में जब परफेक्शन आएगा तब जाके आपका कोई काम सिद्ध होगा और कौन कह रहे हैं ये चीज कहाँ पे बताया गया है सांख्य कृतांत है सांख्य कृतांत मीन्स वेदांत सांख्य कृतांत कृतांत मतलब अल्टीमेट द अल्टीमेट फिलोसॉफी ऑफ सांख्य is this five is this Vedanta. Vedanta. Sankhya is basically, Sankhya is, actually Sankhya and Vedanta, there is little difference. The topmost section of the Sankhya is considered to be Vedanta. That's why Sankhya Kritanta is Vedanta actually. Yeah, so you can read this one.
Karuna Brajesh Prabhuji.
O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all actions. Now learn of these from me.
Vedanta, because Vedanta is considered to be the topmost. Everybody accepts Vedanta. Srila Prabhupada tells about here, you can see here. Okay. Okay, you can read from me. The Lord is citing Vedanta.
Perfect. The Lord is citing Vedanta philosophy to show how this is possible. He says that there are 5 causes for all activities, and for success in all the activities, one should consider these 5 causes.
Yeah.
Sankhya means,
Once more you read this one. Once more. He says that.
He says that there are 5 causes for all activities, and for success in all activities, one should consider these 5 causes. Sankhya means a discourse of knowledge, and Vedanta is the final discourse of knowledge accepted by all the leading acharyas. Even Sankara accepts Vedanta Sutra as such. Therefore, such authority should be consulted.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is making here point that these 5 factors should be right. So what are these 5 factors? Now Krishna is explaining here. Important you all can remember this. Adhishthana, sorry. Adhishtanam tatha karta
Adhishtanam tatha karta
varanam cha prithak vidham
karanam cha prithak vidham
vividhascha prithak cheshta
vividhascha prithak cheshta
daivam chaivatra panchamam.
daivam chaivatra panchamam.
So Krishna is telling adhishtanam. First factor is adhishtanam. Second factor is karta. अधिष्ठानम तथा कर्ता, जो करता है, कर्ता. फिर कारणम, and then vividhascha prithak chesta. This is the 4th one, and 5th one is daivam chaivatra pancham. So 5 चीज के बारे में इधर जिक्र किया गया है. First is, the first thing is adhishtanam. Adhishtanam is place. Literal meaning of adhishtanam is place. But adhishtanam also means this body. You need this body to do activity. What you can do in this human form of life, that activity cannot be done in an animal life, in animal's body. That's why the body is a prime factor, first factor for a perfection of an action. Similarly, sometimes what you can do in Indian body, you cannot do in American body. What you can do in, of course, the body definitely can change, no doubt about it, through the process of bhakti. But the karma kanda section, that's why they will not allow these Westerners to sit in the yajnas actually, because they understand this body, this only Indians can do it. That's their understanding. So karma kanda understanding basically. So adhishtanam is body or the place. Adhishtanam. Tatha karta. Karta is the person. Is the spirit soul. And then karanam is senses or the instrument in literal sense. The instrument. अगर आप आटा बनाना, रोटी बनाना चाहते हो, तो आपको बेलन पड़ी लगेगा. उसके लिए चाहिए. बेलन पड़ी नहीं होगा तो कैसे बनाएंगे आप रोटी? भाकरी बना सकते हैं हाथ में ठप करके, लेकिन चपाती के लिए तो चाहिए. तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट बहुत जरूरी है. कुछ इंस्ट्रूमेंट नहीं होगा तो कुछ नहीं होगा. कुछ चीज आप, so that is for sense, karanam, but here actually karanam means senses. His body and the senses. And then, of course, body, you will say, Prabhuji, body means senses only. Yeah, body means senses only, but still Krishna makes a difference. Indriyani parani ahur. He says senses are superior to dull matter in this body also. So, and then vividhascha prithak chesta. Chesta is endeavor, prana. That's very important actually. Even if you have everything, if you don't do chesta, you will not get success. Even if you are intelligent, if you don't study, you will not get success. So Chanakya Pandit says, Nahi suptasya sneham singhasya pravishanti mukhe mriga. Even if a lion is there who is very powerful than deer, but still he has to make an endeavor to catch the prey. Otherwise, he has to starve. Similarly, even if you have everything at your disposal and you don't endeavor, you will not get success. Yeah, sometimes a person could have done better in the exam because he did not prepare well, he failed. Because he did not did chesta. So you can't say that, okay, if there is in my fate, it is there to, I'll pass the exam, I'll pass, so that I study or don't study. No, sir. If you don't do chesta, then karma will not be siddhi. You have intelligence, the buddhi is there. Buddhi is, it means karanam is there. You are the karta. You have books, adhishtanam, everything is there. But you don't do chesta, you will not get success. Then comes, even if you do chesta, still you may not get success because that is daivam. Daivam is the ultimate. Daivam has restricted your growth. You cannot go, even if you do chesta, you will go up to this limit. You cannot go beyond this. So that factor is Daivam factor. Because depending on what you have done in the past, Daiva has fixed your present situation. And in the present situation, your action cannot go beyond this limit. Even if you do chesta, even if you have senses, karanam, even if you have rest of the instruments, still you will not be able to proceed ahead because Daivam is restricting. So this chesta and Daivam, endeavor, and then this is karma vivad, karma means philosophy, Daivavad and karmavad. There's a two type of philosophy called karmavad and Daivavad. So Krishna also told Arjun, you are powerful, nevertheless you have to fight. Prabhupada told you, tells in his lecture, Krishna did not tell Arjun, you are the best of the archer. You just go back and relax behind the chariot. Krishna did not say that. You just go and relax in the chariot and I'll fight for you. No, Arjuna had to fight 18 days. And a huge endeavor he had to do. Similarly, Prabhupada. Prabhupada told that there is temples all around. There are temples and everything. But if there are temple, Prabhupada did not sit. How much he worked very hard actually. Reaching, moving, traveling all around the globe. Why did that endeavor? Because Krishna is given, but to manifest it, you have to do some endeavor. That is called chesta. That Daiva has already given the seed on earth. On earth, already seeds are there. But the farmer has to till the land. He has to till the land and then wait for the Daivam to shower rain. But so that chesta part, endeavor part is very important. That's it. 5 factors are there. So please, somebody can read the translation.
Lalit Prabhu.
Yes. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavors, and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action.
Yoga says, Adhishtanam tathakarta karanam cha prithagvidam vividascha prithak chesta daivam chaivatra puncham. Like that, these 5 factors are there. Prabhupada will explain that Adhishtanam is body and the karta is the doer. Yeah, karta is the one who is doing. Okay, this purport is important. We'll read this purport. Yeah, you can read this purport for Adhishtanam.
The word adhisthanam refers to the body. The soul within the body is acting to bring about the results of activity and is therefore known as karta, the doer. That the soul is the knower and the doer is stated in the Shruti. Isha hi drishta srishta. Prashna Upanishad 4.9. It is also confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra by the verses Jnanacha eva and karta Shastra tatha uttavat. The instruments of action are the senses, and by the senses, the soul acts in various ways. For each and every action, there is a different endeavor. But all one's activities depend on the will of the Supersoul, who is seated within the heart as a friend. The Supersoul, the Supreme Lord, is the super cause. Under these circumstances, he who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Supersoul situated within the heart is naturally not bound by any activity. Those in the complete Krishna consciousness are not
Yeah.
ultimately responsible for their actions. Everything is dependent on the supreme will, the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead.
Okay. Sariravam manoviryat
Shastri manobhiryat
karma prarabhate naraha
karma prarabhate naraha
nyayam va viparyam va
nyayam va viparitam va
panchayate tasya hetava.
panchayite tasya hetavah.
So what Krishna says that whatever a person does through sarira, through speech and through mind, sarira vam manoviryat, whatever karma a person does, whether it is nyaya or viparit, whether it is auspicious or inauspicious, all are, these five factors are only there. These five factors are the prime cause, like that. But ultimately, this, we know that this ultimate cause is always the Supreme Lord. So you may, like, little elaboration actually is done here. If you see, the three factors are taken. One is called in the third chapter, 13th chapter, it says that soul is the doer. Then he says that the Prakriti is the doer and the super soul is the doer. Like that, you might have read three types of doer in third chapter, in 13th chapter, right? That he says, no. He says 13th chapter, he says that three type of doer are there. Soul, super soul, and the material nature. Then why these five are coming here? These five are nothing but वही तीन चीज को थोड़ा थोड़ा और elaborately explain किया है. आप देखोगे तो वही तीन चीज ही है. ये जो श्लोक है, ये पांच फैक्टर इधर जो आया है, अधिष्ठान, कर्ता, करण और चेष्टा और दैवी, वही वही चीज है. वही तीन चीज है, लेकिन तीन चीज को थोड़ा डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन किया गया है. अधिष्ठान वो क्या है, कहाँ से आता है? मटेरियल नेचर. शरीर प्योरली इज गिवन बाय द मटेरियल नेचर एक्चुअली. हमारा कोई काम नहीं है शरीर में. शरीर में कितना, what are the factors involved in the body, it is completely given by material nature. That's why adhisthana here refers to material nature. And karta is the soul. Karanam is again is given by the material nature. Adhisthana karanam. And then chesta. Chesta is like, some part of the chesta comes from the living entity, some part of the chesta comes from other living entity. Because sometimes you are inspired to do. They say, na, behind every success there is a woman behind. So the chesta factor is instigated by the wife of a person. Basically, that's what is meant there. Or sometimes you find a person is called a motivational speaker, because they motivate others to work. Sometimes, that's called chesta. The chesta is springing from inspiration from another living entity. That's why it's put a little in another context, chesta. And then dynamo is the super soul. So these three things only given in little detailed explanation of action. Okay, fine. So till now, anybody wants to ask something or any doubts so far?
Here, Prabhupada is translating Daiva as super soul.
Yes.
So, how exactly is Daiva super soul?
Yeah, Bible is because already we have read now in third chapter, 13th chapter, that super soul is the Anumanta Upadrashtacha. That shloka is Anumanta Upadrashtacha. What is the shloka? Anybody remembers?
Bhakta Bhakta Maheshwar.
Bhakta Bhakta Maheshwar.
Paramatmeti chapyukto.
Yeah, Paramatma is there. So Daivam is here, super soul. He is the Anumanta and Upadrashta and the sanctioner basically. Without his, here Daiva is not the demigod actually. It's not demigod. Here it is super soul. Because super soul is the ultimate sanctioner of our desire, and Prakriti is working under him. So, or you want to ask something else? I did not understand the question exactly.
No, I understood. I think it's in relation with the Karanam Karta and all that. So because the spiritual
Daivam,
is
Daivam, no, Daivam is here super soul. We have to, whenever the karma action factor comes, super soul has to come. Because Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. The ultimate cause of everything is super soul. Ultimately, these three again can be boiled down to one only. So 1 from 3, 3, and 3 from 5 is being expanded actually. But these three again can be boiled down to one. That one is super soul. That's all. He is the one who is doing everything in one sense. And that's what Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the ultimate. Of course, one cause you might have read about the guna actually, the modes. That's Krishna always spoken in third chapter. That ahankara, what is that? Vimudatma kartahamyati. What is the starting line of the sloka? Prakrate kriyamanaani gunai karmani sarvasya ahankara vimudatma kartahamyati manyate. So it says that actually all actions are done by the modes. The guna are only doing. Living entity is just like a play toy. Actually, the modes are doing. There, that is the meaning of. But a person out of false ego, he thinks that out of ahankar, that I am the one who is doing it. Ahankara vimudata patnani. Actually, the modes are doing. And a jnani has to see that actually the modes are doing. The jnani has to see like that. Niskama Karma Yogi has to see like that. But a devotee will see that Krishna is doing that. I'll just show you this. You see this one here. Yeah, in this Niskama Karma Yogi, here NKY is written, no? On the left side. See, this Niskama Karma Yogi has to see that it is the gunas are doing it. Otherwise, he will not be able to perform Niskama Karma Yogi. He has to see that gunahe gunasu vartanta iti mattvana sajjate. There is a shloka in Bhagavad Gita again coming in the third chapter. What is the starting of this shloka?
Tattva Mahabhav.
Tattvavittu Mahabahu. Tattvavit here is Niskam Karma Yogi. Tattvavittu Mahabahu. Guna Karma Guna. What is that? Next line.
Guna Karma Vibhaga.
Guna Karma Vibhagayo. Guna Gunaisu Vartanta iti mattvana sajjate. He understands that actually everything is done by the guna only. The modes are only active and he does not take part in it. That's what the Srila Prabhupada translates there. So that's basically spoken exactly for the Niskam Karma Yogi. So then Niskama Karma Yogi has to see like that. But a devotee here on the right side will not see that the modes are doing it. A devotee will see that it is Krishna, Sarva Karana Karanam. It is Krishna who is doing everything. That's what it is. So, yeah. For Daivam, that's why the word is used. Daivam, in Niskam Karma Yogi, he has to see like that. Daivam. Otherwise, obviously, no, in this circle here, when somebody is any Niskam Karma Yogi or Varnashram Dharma, everybody has to accept Vishnu, Super Soul, both. Without accepting Vishnu or Super Soul, nobody can go beyond this Nastic life, sinful life. So I think I have explained this one in the last class.
yes.
So, yeah. So Nastic, anybody who is not accepting Vishnu or Super Soul, there's no question of coming here. He has to be in sinful life only. Nastic. Okay. So some other shlokas will come. I in detail explain their karma, means karma sections will also come. Okay. Sorry, you read from here. This one is complete. Okay. I think this one is also over. Yeah. Tatrevam sati kartaram.
Prabhu, you need to share.
Okay. Yeah, please. Tatra evam sati kartaram
Praivam sati kartaram
atmanam kevalam tu yaha
atmanam kevalam tuyah
pashyati akrita buddhitvam
pasyatykrita buddhitvan
visapasyati durmati.
atapashyati durmatihi.
Tatra evam sati kartaram atmanam. Any person who thinks that I am the doer, atmanam, he himself, kartaram, he feels that I am the doer, that person, and I am the sole doer. You are the doer, but you are not the sole doer. Kevalam. If you think that I am kevalam karta, tatra evam, any person who sees that I am the only doer, he is akrita buddhitvam. It is clearly, he is akrita buddhitvam. Skrita means success. Akrita means failure. His buddhi is a failure. Akrita buddhitvam. And nasapasyati durmati. His intelligence is baffled and he is not actually saying anything. That's the meaning of a person who sees himself to be the doer. And because a person who is seeing himself to the doer, he cannot practice bhakti yoga completely nicely. And a person he cannot do in niskam karma yoga. That's already clearly spoken in many places in Bhagavad Gita. Person who sees himself as the doer, he is motivated with ahankar. And he is not niskam karma yogi. That's what it is. He is actually a durmati. And he is bound. For him, there is anishtam, ishtam, isramcha, all these things. He is not niskam karma yogi. Person who sees that, I'm the soul doer. Person has to see that there is modes are inactive and the super soul is involved. Then he will be niskam karma yogi. But if a person is trying to see Krishna as the soul doer, then he is a devotee. That's a different thing. Focus is dependency. We have to cultivate full dependency on Krishna and all those factors come into picture. This is Bhakti Yoga section actually. Yeah, please read this nonsense.
Mandar bro.
Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are.
So considering himself to the soul doer, not considering super soul and all these things. Okay. Then actually a philosopher is though if he sees that he himself as the doer, then he becomes a karma mimamsak actually. And if he involves Daivam, then he becomes like Sankhya. And then Vedanta and all these things comes. Okay. Now Krishna explains again the similar verses. The previous verse and this verse very similar only. It says, Yasya naham krita bhavo
Yasya naham krito bhavo
buddhiryasya na lipyate
buddhiryasya na lipyate
tatvapi sa iman lokan
hatvapi sa iman lokan
nahanti na nibadhyate.
nahanti na nibadhyate.
Very beautiful verse actually. Krishna is because now Krishna is coming to his his job. His all philosophy he has spoken to Arjuna so far to instigate him to fight, to set him into fight. So now he is drawing his picture that Arjuna, even if you fight, there is no reaction for you. In fact, not reaction for any person who is not motivated with false ego. Yasya na ahankrita bhava, who is free completely from false ego, from the sense of doership, that person, and whose intelligence is not bound, buddhi yasya na lipyate, that person is not entitled to his action of his reaction of his action. He is not entitled. And even if he kills somebody, still there is no fault. That's what it is. Then you may suppose these jihadists are there. What about them? So this shloka applies for them? No, sir. Because they are not free from false ego. They are fully in tamogun. The buddhi, the intelligence has to be of that level. Then only a person kills them. That is applicable for Arjuna actually, not for this tamoguni people. The buddhi factor, their intelligence in tamogun. Krishna will explain again. He will categorize depending upon a person, depending upon his buddhi, because action is performed by the intelligence, by the aid of intelligence. So he will explain about action also. He will explain about buddhi also in different modes. So whenever you find different type of people in action with their variegated intelligence, then you should categorize into these three modes only: tamogun, And Rajogun, if they are there, then Tamagun, Rajogun is nothing but hellish. And only Satogun person, then he will be Ishtam, he will make progress further ahead. That's what the summing moment of this discussion. And Prabhupada gives the example in the purport that if a soldier is there, if he goes for fighting and he is fighting, he is killing on the border, then he is not entitled to he is given Parambir Chakra and he is a hero. But same person, if he comes and fights with the neighbor and kills the neighbor for his personal sake because the neighbor had a quarrel with his wife and he killed, then do you think he will get Parambir Chakra? No, he will be in the bars, put behind bars. So that is the difference between this what Krishna is exactly. If you extrapolate it into this, when it is for Samagram, that's why it says that Brahma Yagyaya Acharat Karma Samagram Praviliyate. There's a sloka in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yagyaya Acharatah Karma. If your karma is only for the purpose of yajna, as we are discussing yajna, dana, tapa, and all these factors, all these three are considered to be yajna only, and yajna comes from yajna brahma udbhavam vidhi. Karma brahma udbhavam vidhi. Karma and yajna, all these things are coming from the Vedas. Brahma udbhavam vidhi, all these things are you might have read in 3rd chapter. So Yagyaya acharata karma samagram praviliyate. Samagram praviliyate means there is no reaction for the action which is being done for the sake of yajna. That's what is the sloka meaning of this. I can read translation.
Mayapur Vihari Prabhu.
One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled through, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions.
That means you can understand he has a license to kill men. So he can come and kill anybody and everybody. It's not like that. This is basically spoken for killing is actually considered to be the most heinous part of the action actually. So an action can be worst pulled below to the level of killing someone. That's why Krishna is telling to that level also there will be no reaction if you are buddhi rasyana lipyate and if naham yasya naham krita bhava yasya, one who is not tainted with false ego. It is that much of liberty is given. That's what is being spoken here. Means no reaction for that person actually. That does not mean that he can go on killing everyone. Just point is that Krishna is trying to give the extreme example actually. And he's definitely giving the example because he's inciting Arjuna to fight. Okay. Prabhupada explains about okay. Buddhi rational empathy means here the person is not in illusion. You can read your personal activity and responsibility. Yeah, just read from here. Hare Krishna.
Personal activity and responsibility arise from false ego and godlessness, or a lack of Krishna consciousness.
So you can clearly see activity has a lot to deal with buddhi and chetana. So the subtle body. That's why he will explain now. Action and then all these things in 3 modes he will explain. Prabhupada gives the example of same what we explained. So now he is telling here now little he is drawing it into from little to the section of Jnana Yoga section, little upper than Skam Karma Yoga. All these factors he'll be explaining. A lot of divisions will come. He will tell all these things in the buddhi and action, the worker and the senses, the intelligence, all these things in the 3 modes. He will explain. So, and how they constitute the factors of action, as we are discussing. That action you do, then behind the action there is a understanding, or there is knowledge because of which the action is being done. So he explains all these factors. These 6 factors. Jnanam, Gyayam, Parigyata,
ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं परिज्ञाता
Trividha Karma Chodana,
त्रिविधा कर्म चोदना
Karanam Karma Karteti,
करणं कर्म कर्तेति
Trividha Karma Sangraha.
द्विविधः कर्म संग्रह.
So here it says that Karanam, Karta and Karma, all these are constituents of action. And Jnana, Gyayam and Parigyata. All these things are, is explaining as the impetus of work. As the Karma Chodana means, as the factor that instigate work. Basically, Jnana, Jnata and Gyayam. There is a, this explain. Like say, for example, I'll say, this is a mobile phone. This is Jnana. And who comes to know this? Yourself and myself. We are called Jnata. And Gyayam is this phone. This is a, so Jnana means this is a phone. That is called Jnana. So how do you get the Jnana? This is by the senses. By the senses. That's why the Karanam and Karma, Karteti, all these things are explained here. Now you can read this.
मोहन सका प्रभु.
Translation: knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the three factors that motivates action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the three constituents of the action.
That's why our body, in our body, the senses are divided into 2 categories. One is called knowledge acquiring senses. And once you have having knowledge, what do? You set it into action. That's called working senses. So the body is divided, the 10 senses are divided like that. Knowledge acquiring senses and working senses. Because both are very much interrelated. So he will be explaining all these things. The purport Prabhupada will, yeah. You can read this purport.
There are 3 kinds of impetus for daily work: knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower. The instruments of work, the work itself, and the worker are called the constituents of work.
So one is the constituent of work, and another is the impetus for work. Like that. It is subtle than gross. That's what is being explained here. Here, Prabhupada will explain them the same thing. You can read here any work done.
Any work done by human being has 3 elements before one act.
Has these elements, not 3 elements. Has all these elements.
Yeah. Before one act, there is some impetus, which is called inspiration. Any solution arrived at before work is actualized as a subtle form of work.
So here the Jnanam, the Gyayam, all these things are not the Jnana Yoga. Don't think that. It is not talking about that. It is not about Jnana Yoga. It is not about, because in the whole Bhagavad Gita, the word Jnanam is used in different concepts. If you remember one place, Prabhupada says that here the Jnanam used is Bhakti. Where Jnana is used as Bhakti. Anybody can give me any shloka? Well, in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada just says that this here the Jnanam is Bhakti. Because Jnanam is Jnana, confidential Jnana and most confidential Jnana. So the most confidential Jnana is Bhakti actually.
राजविद्या राजगुह्यम्
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
पवित्रमिदमुत्तमं प्रत्यक्षावगमं धर्मं सुसुखं कर्तुमव्ययम्.
Then next what comes? No, before that I think Krishna says
Jnana Vijnana Sahitam is the form of
Jnana Vijnana Sahitam is. So there Prabhupada says here the Jnana is actually Bhakti. So in Bhagavad Gita, the Jnana is used in different. Here the word Jnana is not actually Jnana Yoga. It is the constituent that sets a person into work. So very lower level of. Generally Jnana means actually, what is the Jnana? In general, if I tell Bhagavad Gita, what is Jnana? There is 3 types of Jnana. One is called Tat Padartha Jnana, Tvam Padartha Jnana, and Jiva Ishwara Aika Jnana. Remember, Jnana means whenever this the Gyanis they talk about, they will talk about Gyanin 3. Another place in Bhagavad Gita he says that in that 13.12 shloka, what it says, anybody can find out 13.12. What is the starting line? 13.12. The starting line. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darsanam iti jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yato anyatha. That shloka it says that jnana word has come several times. So there it's the jnana is all this jnana. Tat padartha jnana, tvam padartha jnana, adhyatma jnana. Adhyatma means tat padartha, tvam padartha and jiva ishvara aikya jnana. Of course, we don't accept jiva ishvara aikya jnana, but tat padartha and tvam padartha jnana we accept. So, Tvam Padartha is the knowledge of soul, Tat Padartha is knowledge of super soul. So, Jnana means in general, if I'll tell you Jnana, Bhagavad Gita, you understand that it is the difference between soul and super soul. That is called Jnana. But here the Jnana is not that Jnana. Here that Jnana is the sensory knowledge which is needed for action. Impetus for work. It is told in that sense. Don't think this is Jnana Yoga section. It's not about that. Okay, again you can read from here.
Then work takes the form of action.
Okay, what subtle form of work? Purpose, there is subtle work. Okay, fine. Okay, you read here. Then work takes.
Then work takes the form of action. First, one has to undergo the psychological process of thinking, feeling, and willing, and that is called impetus. The inspiration.
So that is the jnanam, vyayam, parijnata, trividha karma chodana. So that is the impetus actually.
The inspiration to work is same if it comes
Okay,
from
fine.
the scripture.
Okay, fine. Actually, I can explain that the senses. Purpose is there is inspiration of work, and then there is okay. Read here again the sum total. Okay, just 1 minute. You read from here the inspiration to work. No, okay.
The inspiration to work is the same if it comes from the scripture or from the instruction of the spiritual master. When the inspiration is there and the worker is there, then actual activity takes place by the help of the senses, including the mind, which is the center of all the senses. The sum total of all the constitutional mind activity are called as accumulation of the work.
So here, all these 6 factors that are there, they're basically instigator of work, karma sangraha. All these for karma chodan and karma sangraha. Karma sangraha means actual work. Karma chodan means impetus for work. Like that is in this. So this is how it is. Okay. Now he will tell about all these things in different modes. All this jnanam, karma, and karta, trividha, guna, vedata, sankhya. He'll explain. Please read this translation.
Mrudil Krishna Prabhu.
According to three different modes of material nature, there are 3 kinds of knowledge. Knowledge, action, and performer of action. Now hear of them from me.
So he will basically explain all this karta, karma, and knowledge, all these things, different modes. All these constitutions of work in different modes. Like that he will explain. So Prabhupada will tell about in the Bhagavad. Okay. Okay, next we explain. Okay, knowledge and read about knowledge in Satto. Yeah.
You can continue, Prabhu.
That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the modes of goodness.
This is here, it is actually jnana. The jnana, actual jnana, which is the soul and difference between super soul. Here that knowledge is called Sattva Guna Jnana. This is Sattoguni Gyan. This Gyan is exactly the Gyan which is being spoken in the Bhagavad Gita, or in generic Gyan means the difference between matter and spirit. That way, if somebody sees like that, undivided spirit soul, if he sees Brahmani Gabhihastini, Suni Chaiva Sopakecha Panditaha Samadarsina, that type of knowledge is being spoken here, and that you can understand this is a Sattoguni Gyan. Okay. Prabhupada will explain all this thing in detail. You can read through the purport. Basically, Prabhupada is telling here impersonal knowledge. You see here. Maybe this might need little time. Should we? Actually, I'm running we are going very slow. It is already only 20 verses. We have another 80 verses remaining. So here. Okay, fine. Same thing. You can read the purport, Prabhuji.
A person who sees one spirit soul in every living being, whether a demigod, human being, animal, bird, beast, aquatic, or plant, possesses the knowledge in the mode of goodness. In all living entities, one spirit soul is there, although they have different bodies in terms of their previous work. As described in the 7th chapter, the manifestation of living force in every body is due to the superior nature of Supreme Lord. Thus, to see that one superior nature, that living force in every body is.
Okay, please just you can read from here. Okay, fine. So Prabhupada is telling basically here, this is the impersonal Gyanis, the way they see. This Gyan is Sattoguni Gyan. Yeah, to see everybody as a soul, part and parcel of Krishna is actually pure devotional knowledge. Pure devotional, that is Bhakti. That's what is not spoken here, definitely. Okay, read this translation.
Nayan Prabhu. Okay. Ramsrasik Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, quickly.
I'll only read. That knowledge by
which one sees that in every different body there is different type of living entity. You should understand to be in the mode of passion.
No, definitely, which is not the true knowledge. But because the person is knowledge entered with Rajogun, he sees like that. And Rajogun and Tamagun both have, there's not much difference actually. One should not see Rajogun is higher than Tamagun is little better. It's nothing like that. Both are undesirable. So Tamagun is little desirable, that's all. Okay, here. And definitely you should understand knowledge in Tamagun. As such, Tamagun is lack of no knowledge only. It's lack of knowledge. Tamagun, there is no knowledge, ignorance. But still Krishna says knowledge in Tamagun. So you can see this beauty of this. He says that Yastu Krishna Bad Ekasmin Karya Saktam Ahetukam Atatvavartha Vad Alpamcha Tat Tamasamurdhatam. That knowledge, which Alpa means very meager, and Atatvarth, not the tattvic knowledge. You can read and that knowledge.
Soumya Saurav Prabhu.
Yes, Roger.
Yeah.
And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all without knowledge of truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness.
Yeah, knowledge. Prabhupada writes here in a beautiful step. The knowledge of the common man is always.
The knowledge of the common man
No,
is
just the knowledge, quote unquote. See, the Prabhupada is giving quote unquote. As that means what? Actually, there is no knowledge. The so-called knowledge of the common man. Actually, we should read like that. That's why Prabhupada has put here quote unquote. Because the so-called knowledge of the common man is actually always in ignorance, because every living entity in conditional life is born in mode of ignorance and very meager knowledge. It's lack with, there is absolutely no scriptural injunction. It is not given by the Guru, and it is only concerned with the body. That's why it is knowledge in ignorance. So the so-called education which is being provided with the schools and the college and university are falling in this category. They are in this category knowledge. This is the knowledge of which is there in the schools. This knowledge is this kind of knowledge, tamoguni knowledge. Such knowledge has no connection with the absolute truth. As soon as there is no connection with the absolute truth, you just only study about nuts and bolts and then pressure and volume relation. All this is tamoguni knowledge. You see here, ordinary animal knowledge, Prabhupada says here. So, yeah, it is more or less like other animals. In other words, knowledge concerning the spirit soul beyond this body is called knowledge in mode of goodness. You can see here. In other words, the knowledge concerning the spirit soul is knowledge producing many theory and doctrines by dint of mundane logic and mental speculation is the product of mode of passion. Munis, the Munis, those who are speculate about different theories, the tattva, this tattva, that tattva, and all this Sankhya, yoga, all this Prabhupada is telling they are in mode of passion. Some of them are in mode of goodness, little gray shade there, but more or less they are in passion because. And then the knowledge concerning only the body is tamoguni knowledge. Is it clear? Okay. Again, the karma. Now the karma he will explain in 3 words. So next class we'll just see the chart. That will be like very fast and many things will be clear. So here we can jump into through any shlokas. But in case you have doubts, so I'll request this will go till 40, 36 or 30, no, 30, 33, 34. It will go like that, 10 more verses. Different knowledge in modes, the buddhi in modes, understanding in modes, the karta in mode and the karma in mode. All things will come. So I'll request you all to just read it once before tomorrow and we'll see the table directly, and in case some discussion is there, we'll discuss. But don't ask me very final question in what is the difference between buddhi and gyan and buddhi and that is understanding, dhriti, all these things. I have not done much research in that. Maybe you all can do and hear some other senior devotees lecture and find. I would like to just go through a little faster. Major work is almost done, and some again Niskam Karma Yoga sections will there, which we'll explain a little bit. Otherwise, more or less things are okay. Thank you very much. So, any question? Or it was a little confusing today. I covered a lot of verses. I have been in pressure from seniors that are you are going very slow. So, any input from all of your side? Many devotees have already left it since. Hare Krishna. Okay. No questions? Fine. Things are not clear or very clear or what it is? Unsatisfactory.
It was clear, Prabhuji. Maybe once we go through it while studying, we can have questions.
For those of you who are coming across these verses first time, it will be a little difficult. If you have read it once, or leisurely can take time. And some of the things can be only understood with time only. 4 type of complete understanding comes. First is 25% understanding comes from the classroom. Another 25 comes when you self-study, go and study it. Another 25% comes when you discuss with your fellow students and teachers. And another 25% will come only with time when you practice and grow up to that. That will come. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Right.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.